If I could speak 1,000 languages, if I could tell what's in the future, if I could know all things that can't be known but don't have love. Hi, my name is Greg Barr, and I would like to share something with you that is very personal, very important, and very true. And I don't want it to come across in any way as cliche or corny. So here it goes. About 40 years ago, my life radically changed for the better. And part of that change was due to the Bible. Since then, the Bible has been for me a daily support, a daily encouragement, a guide, a teacher, a corrector, a foundation for my life, and a life giver. And I would like to share some of that with you. I also want to add right now that I do not claim a corner on the truth at all. I am one of many, many Bible teachers around the world and through time. But I know there is something here for you. So for the next 30 minutes or so, stay with me, open your heart, open your mind, and see what God may have for you. And may He bless you largely. Hi, thanks for joining me. We're going through the book or the Gospel of Luke. This is session 10. And I just want to say before I start to read from chapter 4 that the stuff that I say here and the stuff that I read here, I have no interest in just putting out information, theological beliefs, or philosophical beliefs. I want life change. And I think maybe you do too. And so we're going to get into this, and keep in mind that this stuff could mean life change for you. This could change your life as it has changed and is changing mine. I got a long way to go, but as Martin Luther King used to say, I'm not where I should be, but I'm not where I used to be. So let's get into it. Luke chapter 4 and verse 31. Here's a situation, an event that will maybe make you raise your eyebrows. Here we go. Then Jesus went down to Capernaum, a town in Galilee, and on the Sabbath began to teach the people. They were amazed at his teaching because his message had authority. In the synagogue there was a man possessed by a demon, an evil spirit. He cried out at the top of his voice, "Ha! What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." "Be quiet," Jesus said sternly. "Come out of him." Then the demon threw the man down before them all and came out without injuring him. All the people were amazed and said to each other, "What is this teaching? With authority and power he gives orders to evil spirits and they come out." And the news about him spread throughout the surrounding area. I have three main thoughts from what I just read. Here's the first one. Very simple. I used to tell my kids this when they were scared or had situations in their life. And still do. I tell adults this, actually. Jesus is more powerful than anything. I've told countless adults this as well as kids. I don't know what to do about your situation so very often, but I know that Jesus is more powerful than anything. And when you live with that in your mind every day, it changes things. We all come into the places where we don't have enough money, we get in conflicts, interpersonal, illnesses, so many situations. We're nervous about the future, and many, many other conflicts in life. You know, one of my favorite scriptures is in the Old Testament, and this king is praying. Those of you who want to look it up, it's in 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 12. And so this king is praying, and he said, Lord, we are overwhelmed, and we don't know what to do, but our eyes are on you. That is a pattern for my life. Lord, I don't know what to do, and I am overwhelmed, but my eyes are on you. I can do that, and so can you. So in Luke chapter 4, there was a man, and he was possessed by a demon. The interesting thing is he was in the synagogue, which begs the question, was he a regular? Was he a member? Was he a first-time visitor? Was he from out of town? The word possessed in the Greek literally means to hold. And, you know, most of us understand the concept of that anyway, being held by something we don't want to be held by. Could be an addiction of any kind, drugs, alcohol, food. It could be held by anger. It could be, I'm not saying it's all demons either, but we understand the concept of being held by something involuntarily. I certainly understand that concept, and we can't get rid of it, right? We can't break loose. This situation here in Luke chapter 4, Jesus was cool about it all, right? He was not perplexed. He was not nervous. He was not scared. He was not overwhelmed, because he knew the fact that he was and is more powerful than anything. And he told the thing to come out, and it did. So, question, what in the world does that mean for you and I today? What does this mean for you? What's the story mean for you? So here's my question. Is there something bigger than you? Is there something holding you that you don't want to be held by? Do you have a loved one? Do you know people who are held by things they don't want to be held by? And again, I'm making clear, I'm not saying it's a demon as in this story, but the concept of being held when we don't want to be and shouldn't be held. You may be overwhelmed, but Jesus is not. He's more powerful than anything. You may be confused and you don't know what to do, but Jesus is not that way. You may be powerless over a habit or an addiction. Jesus is not. You may be worried about your future. Jesus is not. You may not have a plan. Jesus is not that way. You may have no power or ability or adequacy right now. Jesus is not that way. And I say this before I go on to the second thought. Turn to the one who's not that way. Turn to the one who is more powerful than anything. I'll say it again, because it's the easiest concept in the world to do. You can do it this second. Turn to the one who is more powerful than anything. How do you do it? Like this. Jesus, I'm turning to you. You don't have to close your eyes either. Here's the second part. Here's the second thing that I'm thinking about. And this can ruffle some feathers, okay? The second thought from this story in Luke chapter 4. Demons. And I want to approach this subject very carefully. Because people tend to go too far, I believe, in two different directions. Some people are fascinated by demons or the thought of them. They overemphasize them. Just as a little exercise, I went online as I was studying for this, and one site said 8 steps to get rid of demons. And in fact, it went so far, and I don't mean to put anybody down if this is your site. But it said, sometimes it could take a long time, so be sure to get some water and snacks so you can, be comfortable through the process. And they went so far as to say there's lesser demons and chief demons, and I have heard plenty of these kind of things in my Christian life. Some people are fascinated by demons, and they think of them too much. Here's a fact, I always say major on the majors, minor on the minors. In the Bible, 16 times demons are mentioned. 16 times demons are mentioned. In the Bible, 554 times love is mentioned. So, what should you focus on? Well, you know the answer to that. The Bible says to fix our eyes on Jesus. Love God, love people. It's pretty simple. Keep the most important, most important. So, on the other hand, some people deny the thought of demons. There's a song from the 70s. There was a guy, Keith Green. He was a child prodigy. Actually, you can see him if you look on YouTube. Keith Green, he was on, I think it was To Tell the Truth when he was a kid. Amazing piano player and sang great too. So he became a Christian. Jewish guy became a Christian in his adult life and wrote a lot of great songs. And here's one of them. The words are, "Oh, my job keeps getting easier as time keeps slipping away. I can imitate the brightest light and make your night look just like day. I put some truth in every lie to tickle itching ears. I'm drawing people just like flies because they like what they hear. I'm gaining power by the hour. They're falling by the score. It's getting very simple now because no one believes in me anymore." He's talking about the devil. Some people think all this, the devil stuff and the demon stuff, it's just all hogwash. And you have your right to believe whatever you want to believe. Honestly, I don't know how you can believe that when you look at some of the barbaric stuff that goes on in our world. I mean, much less the littler stuff, right? People being held, your loved ones being held by something, or people just acting out and going nuts and violent. But Hitler is a good example, right? To me, this is my own belief, but stuff like that, that's like otherworldly. It was so barbaric. It's beyond human violence. I'll move on. The Greek word for demon is a daemonian. And a definition, it says, a demon or supernatural spirit. Remember, the word spirit is something you can't see. Actually, the Greek word for spirit is pneuma, like pneumatic tool. It's got power, but you don't see it. A demon or supernatural spirit of a bad nature. This thing in Luke chapter 4, this thing threw this guy down. And as you go through the Gospels, there's many other such things. David Stern, he's a writer in the Jewish New Testament commentary, and he wrote, "The Bible takes for granted the existence of a spiritual world. It does when you read it. Here's the thing. Demons are real, they're bad, and they want to hurt you and the people you know. N.T. Wright, a scholar and writer, said, many in the modern world, here we are, many in the modern world don't believe in demons. They are inclined to say that this is the sort of thing that was merely a medical condition that people had not diagnosed in Jesus' day. Many others, however, in several parts of today's world know only too well that strange forces seem able to invade a personality. So that a person talks with a strange voice and has a peculiar one, one might say, haunted look in his eye or her eye. It's more than just an illness of the mind. Though some have signs that are similar, or some are signs that are similar, and sometimes people in that condition do seem to know things nobody else does. Whatever we say about such a condition, there is no historical doubt that Jesus dramatically healed a good many people who were regarded as possessed. That you can't deny. We read it over and over. He did what he did by simple commands, N.T. Wright continues. No magic formulas, no mumbo-jumbo. He told the spirits to go, and they went. That astonished people. He did not have to summon a stronger power than his own. He just used the authority he already possessed himself. That's enough about demons for now, right? Here's the last thing I want to say. Jesus wants and is able to set people free. We see that from Luke 4. We see it throughout the Gospels and the Bible. Jesus wants to and is able to set people free. Luke 4 is an example. You know, one of my favorite verses in the New Testament, it's from the book of Colossians, and listen to what it says. For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness. This is one of my favorite scriptures on this subject. For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. He has rescued us from the dominion of darkness, demons, whatever, and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. That is a beautiful thing. Jesus said that is what he came to do, set people free. And I just want to cut to the chase, okay? Winding down here quickly. We all know, we all have seen, we all read about people or groups of people with demonic or otherworldly problems. Problems that don't fit a medical or neurological condition of any sort. I have been to enough meetings in my life with social workers, mental health workers, doctors, and they will say it in meetings. Some things are just puzzling to them. It's beyond these fantastic people who are doing fantastic things. It is beyond solutions of this world. So you may ask, if Jesus came to set people free, why isn't everybody free? That's a good question. And that was a question that religious leaders asked Jesus in his day. If you're the Messiah, why isn't everything better for us? Why aren't we conquerors in our life and our nation? Here's kind of a simple answer I have for that. Jesus did not come to make sweeping generalizations, but Jesus came to make personal change. There's a story in the Gospel of John, and Jesus is talking to the religious leaders, and they said, we've never been slaves or of anything. We've never been held by anything. We're Abraham's descendants. Jesus goes on. He says, whoever sins is a slave to sin. Again, the word sin just means to miss the mark, to blow it. And being honest, whatever the root cause is, we all know what that is. To be held by something, an attitude, a habit, an addiction, being up at night, whatever it is, involuntarily. We all get that, I think, right? But Jesus goes on with these people, and he said, if the Son sets you free, you'll really be free. If the Son sets you free. And that's what I say to you. And I need that too. If the Son sets you free, you will be free. So, here's what I say to you. Pray with me right now, okay? And in the end part of this prayer, I'm going to say a little something, and I encourage you, stick somebody's name in there that you know that needs to be set free. Would you pray something like this with me? Would you say, Jesus, I believe, I'm believing now, you are more powerful than anything. Jesus, I ask you to set me totally free. And Jesus, I ask you to set free, okay, now throw that name in of whoever you're thinking about. Jesus, set free whoever. Amen. So I wonder what you may have gotten out of what you just heard. I hope you were comforted. I hope you were encouraged. I hope you learned something about God, or at least gain more curiosity about Him. I hope if you're not part of a church that you would check out New Road in Centerville. And I hope most of all that you would turn to Jesus. He is the only one who can give you the life that you were created to have, that you were meant to have. He is the only one who can give you the best life possible. So I'm going to do a little more of that song that I started in the beginning. I thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, God bless you. And if I was the smartest guy in town, and if I had faith to move a mountain, if I gave all I had to feed the poor, but don't have love, 'cause love is patient, love is kind, love gets hurt but doesn't mind, doesn't grab and won't demand or put you down. Help me to love like that, oh Lord. Help me to love like that, oh Lord. Help me to love like that, oh Lord. I can't do it on my